good to see everyone again. You know, Coach Hudd talked about the schedule going a little bit later. Well, I think it's for the coaches more than anything. I don't want to lose a coach, get out there in that heat. But I tell you, excited to get another game part of our season kicked off. I think one of the things that I want to mention is pretty unique. 5th year, we haven't had a change offensively in the coaching staff. That's pretty strong. And what it allows me to do, when we game plan collectively, it's a collective effort. It's Coach Lovings, Coach Rodrigue, Coach Munoz, Coach Stringer, and to have those guys in the foxhole with you is pretty special. So that what makes my job much easier. They're very talented coaches. I don't have to ever worry about their positions. It's handled. And we've gotten to the point where we don't even have to talk. We know what each other's thinking. We know what each step is. So that's really an exciting deal for me as we enter the 2015 campaign. You know, when you start talking offensive football, there's certain things I'm always going to address and focus on. And the number one thing is taking care of the football. Pretty evident. You go back to the past, when we've taken care of the football, our opportunity for success has been very, very good. And so that will, again, be our number one stressor as we focus in on this season. And then the next thing, I always think, you know, as you enter new seasons in any sport at any level, it's the ebb and flow. Some have gone and some have come. And it's always that challenge of the some that are coming in, how do they intermix and fit those places that we've lost. And you know, we've lost some very good football players. But I'm excited. I'm excited of the guys we have coming in because they've been a part of this deal. They know what the culture is. They know what the expectations are. So it's our job, as we talked about the staff earlier, to how can we best put those guys in position to make plays. And at the end of the day, we feel that's our job. You know, identify the playmakers. And then as we go and as the season unfolds, we always try to mold what we do around those guys. And so, you know, I'm excited for it. I'm excited because we're going to be new. We're going to be different. But it's going to be an exciting, new, and different. So that's what we're looking forward to, and obviously we get a jump start tomorrow on that as far as getting on the field. Our guys have been going since January, though. This is just a continuation of what they've been doing, all the work they put in the off-season and spring ball, and so it's looking for some real positive things in the upcoming. You know, for me, it starts up front, and Coach Rodrigue does a tremendous job with our guys, and, you know, it always starts with us for our center. You look at our history, it's been pretty strong now. Andre Huval, what he did here was phenomenal. And then we had that big question mark. Also, Terry Johnson. Look what he comes in and does. So I'm looking forward to it. I think Coach Rod has a great plan there. We need to develop some depth. But Eddie Gordon showed good signs this spring. And then you got the 2 cohorts with him with Mike Quave and Octavian. I don't know how many games they've started, but it's been an awful lot. And so then with Donovan Williams coming on last year, I think we're going to be really solid there. We need some of the younger guys, you know, guys that you haven't seen as much, but I thought really had some promising springs. Coach mentioned a few of them, but Grant Horst is one that's kind of been a little bit of having an injury issue, but has really been really strong. And then also Diaquin Withrow. Boy, good young-looking talent. So then the influx of the new guys, I'm excited for that spot. You know, running back, obviously Eli coming back, but I tell you what, we got a committee of 3 that have been in this program for a long time. Montrell Carter, Ephraim Reed, and Torrey Pierce have done exceptional things for us, and I look for them with the influx of the new guys to give us a lot of stability there, and we'll kind of see how that matches and unfolds. And I think they all have certain roles that we can address there. The MVPs of our offense, though, and I say it each and every year, are tight ends. What we ask them to do in the run, the pass, and the throw game is phenomenal. We've had some good ones here in the past. And so, you know, again, Nick Byrne, really look for him to take a step. We need Evan Tatford coming off the injury that's been cleared, ready to go. And then you got to look to some new guys, Jake Beasley, Carlos Robinson, all those guys. So excited there. Receiver core, I really feel it's one of the deepest receiver cores we've had since we've been here. And obviously we're looking for Jamal to come back and do some exceptional things there. And then, boy, there's just a talent of guys. That's where I want to see what happens. Because I think we've got some guys, you know, a Devin Scott, a Jared Johnson, some guys that have been on the cusp. Gabe, a year older. What impact do they make? Because I'm looking for impact players all around. And so I'm excited. We've got some guys there, and now it's going to be fun kind of putting them into the places they need to be. But it's very exciting. And at quarterback, I got answered every question about the quarterback, so I probably don't even need to address that. But I know this. We've got some talented kids. They've been working very hard. And it's their number one goal to raise the level of all around them. And if they can do that and make plays and move this offense, we're going to be very, very successful. So, any questions?
You talked about how solid your staff is. But the last 4 years, you've always also had that sort of coach on the your approach any different this year since you don't really have an established guy?
Not necessarily. I feel that, you know, particularly most of the guys, they've been in the room with me for 3 or 4 years, you know, 3 years. And so they know our makeup, they know how I approach it and how we approach it, and I think they're kind of following in the footsteps of the guys that have gone before them. So from approach, you know, obviously I always think it's important as an offensive staff to kind of mold, you know, what you do best or what fits things. So as we get into things and that, you know, kind of tells us what we need to do, that might change a little bit. But as far as the other approach, I feel those guys know where we need to go and what we need to do.
What are the pros and cons to, even in August now, not having a clear-cut number one quarterback?
Oh, you know, I don't know, Tim. I think sometimes, you know, maybe who's that guy at the forefront, you know, because quarterback's going to be a leader on your team. That comes naturally with the position. So I would say that would be one of the things. But, you know, I think the way our guys have competed and how they've gone about it, even starting back in last January, it's been a very competitive spirit, but it's been a good spirit, meaning that they're still supporting, and so I don't feel that has held us back in any capacity. And if in any sense, I think it's helped us grow a little bit. So, you know, I think other than just maybe having the one lead guy coming in and all that might change it, but I still think the way our guys have approached it, it's still going to be positive for us.
Jamal went down last year. How big of an impact did that, looking back, how big of an impact did that have on you guys and having an impact on the receivers?
Yes, I would say it was great. It was a very big impact. You know, as you know, Jamal in the past and his history, his playmaking ability, you know, offense is about that. It's about guys making plays, and you pull one of those guys out with that magnitude, yeah, it was a big change. So we, you know, we needed to adapt a little bit, and we tried to do some things differently when that occurred, and to help us. And but to have the fact that his opportunity to come back is going to be awesome. You know, we need to manage him as we go through camp and take care of him. But if he can kind of pick up, as was mentioned earlier, where he left off, it's just, again, when you try to stress defenses and how you can stress them, he's a guy that can stress them, and then that creates some other situations. So we hope he can be a huge impact for us. You know, I think Gabe is a guy that he's an exceptional student of the game and understands what we're doing very, very well. We moved him all over this spring, you know, mainly still within the receiver position, but allowing us flexibility inside, outside, and different things along that line, just to, you know, if we become a depth situation or where can he best fit. So it just gives us the luxury to have more depth and to move some of the parts and the pieces around to hopefully help them fit the best where we can make plays. So that's how I see him helping us.
Is there a concern at all for you all figuring out exactly how much to use Eli and not wanting to go to passing just because he's so good?
Very much so. Again, it's going to have to be a great management situation. I know what he can do. And so but you also need to be on that cusp. He needs to be sharp. And so we need to manage that, and Coach Lovings and I, we've all talked about that, and that will be something that we address as we go through camp, and getting him enough, but put him in situations to hopefully help him sharpen his blade, so to speak, but not jeopardize anything.
What is your best option for an Alonzo type short yardage situation, and could Jalen get back to that?
He could be, absolutely. You know, if you go back to, well, 2 years ago, bowl game, Jalen was a little bit of that type of a feature for us. So he does bring that size and dimension and the ability to run the ball. So that's something, as I kind of see how things unfold, that I think he could be a guy that could fit that big Alonzo role. You know, obviously Alonzo, we used him a bunch in every situation, but obviously in that short yardage situation, he was very important to us. So I do see Jalen as that possibility, and kind of seeing how things play out either way, and think he could bring that to us, absolutely.
The quarterback position, is that something that if you don't decide on one person, so there's still other packages for guys that you put in?
Yes, I think so. If we would find that multiple quarterback packages can help us be better and help us be, I guess, greater difficulty to defend, I think we'll definitely implore that. You know, I always play in that position. I think it's hard sometimes. You know, if you kind of get in the groove and then all of a sudden, boom, one comes in and one comes. So I would be, I guess, very aware of how we were going about it, because being that guy that's out there taking the snap is a little, and once you get in that flow and rhythm and things of that nature. So definitely things we would consider, absolutely, but I think we would really try to be very precise in how we'd use it.
We mentioned Octavian, or we mentioned some of the other offensive linemen that you have that are very good ones. He's sort of quietly been a guy that's been starting for 2 years. What do you think?
You know, Octavian's been phenomenal. Well, I guess the biggest thing is he's been so good with the mental part of it. You know, starting as a young player, and probably was a little bit behind physically, but now as he's matured and things have come along, he's just continued that with knowing what to do, and the way Octavian goes about his life just lends itself to success. And so that's why he's been so good for us. And again, you know, between he and Mike, those are the two that need to lead us up front this year.
The 3 quarterback race instead of the 2, how difficult for you is it kind of making sure you delegate the right amount of reps with the first, with the second, for you get a look of, you know, what you really want?
Yeah, I need to be very conscious of that as we go through camp. I will be trying to track that as I go through camp, but I'm going to tell the guys today, you know, when we get a chance to see them for the first time, they get evaluated in everything they do. I might be making a decision when we're throwing routes on air, because obviously there's only one ball and only one guy can be in there at a time. So I will manage that, and as I go through and script things, I've already scripted all the plays for camp. I've tried to think who would be in at that time to try to see them in a particular situation. So I'm trying to put those guys in that situation to allow us to get a great evaluation. But then again, they're going to be evaluated in everything they do. They're going to be evaluated how they sit in a meeting, how they address their team, how they handle things, how they handle the huddle, how they handle the players. And so that will be one big part of it, but it's really an all-encompassing evaluation.
Is that maybe the tipping point for you, the outside aspect? Because it seems like a lot of it is kind of even.
Yeah, absolutely for me, because you know, again, I'm a firm believer that in this position, their number one goal is to get the 10 around them to play better. Because if they do, they're going to be very, very good. So how do they do that? You know, maybe they need to address an offensive lineman a little bit different than Eli or something, but there has to be something, or can they have the ability to make that play to get those guys to rally and go make plays for them? Because that, when we get that happening, then the success, I think, just continues to rise.